By the way, just want to finish up on the Voltron talk. I just want to claim that I have not seen enough of it to have an opinion of it. That was just one nitpicky thing, because I know somebody in chat's going to interpret that as, wow, Rifkin hates Voltron? What? So I'm not nearly far enough in to have an opinion formed. But at any rate, welcome, one and all, to what should be a really good group today. You know what's really exciting about this group for me, Zombie Hero?
What's that?
If all things go according to plan, this could potentially be 5 TvZ best of 5s.
Oh, I thought you were going to make some snarky remark about yesterday.
Oh.
But yeah, that too.
That's right, yesterday happened, I kind of forgot.
I just pushed that out of my mind. Well, you had a very traumatic day yesterday. I can see why you would push that out of your mind.
Yeah, I love how, by the way, again, I feel like you could be the one who screams and yells, so-and-so's banded. They'd be like, fucking Rifkin. No credibility. Completely unreliable. Like, god damn it.
Well, I mean, I wasn't specifically talking about the aftermath of that. I was talking about your real life. But also,
that
yes.
sucked too. Oh my god. I actually legit forgot about how much that sucked.
Oh,
I guess we'll give you guys updates in a moment, because my real life is actually in a bit of a crisis. But before that, in the bottom left, it's going to be the green Zerg player, Elazer.
In the top right, as the Blue Terran, he is uThermal.
Alright, so I bring this up during the TING broadcast because you guys did help us fundraise for this while we're casting some of the qualifiers. A lot of you may or may not know this situation where I need to have my wisdom teeth out. Turns out and we raised like $1,500 to help me with that, so thank you all. Thank you so much. You got my eternal gratitudes. What are you doing?
What?
No, it sounded like you were throwing a box at your mic.
I just closed the door. It barely even made a sound.
That's so weird. Okay, anyways, some of you guys may know I had to get my wisdom teeth out, so we raised $1,500. Thank you so much for that. Turns out, though, I'm totally effing screwed because there's something wrong with the way my jaw is formed in the back around my wisdom teeth because of, I guess, my bite or something. So I could technically, I know a lot of people are going to give me suggestions. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to hear them because I've already made my decision. I could fly to Thailand. I could go to Europe. I know, for cheap. Point isn't cheap, though. I have to pay something like $7 grand to get this sort of mouth brace retainer thing going. That'll take 18 to 24 months, and then after that, it may or may not fix it, because another problem I have is also with my airways, and it's supposed to fix that as well. But those two things combined may fix my wisdom teeth, and they may actually just be able to grow in normally because of the spacing it'll create in my mouth. But if it doesn't, I still have to have my wisdom teeth out on top of that, so possibly like $9 grand over the next 24 months just to get my mouth fixed. Totally sucks balls.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it sounds so, like, it sounds so much like your dentist is trying to rip you off, but there's also, like, the whole thing where, like, most people get their wisdom teeth out early enough and don't, like, live with the pain for, like, a year or however long you've been living with it, that I guess in your case, it might actually just be, like, your mouth is entirely fucked up.
Well,
I mean,
so people were suggesting I get a second opinion, and I did from, like, another dentist, and charged me like $100 just to get a consultation. But the point is, they both recommend it's the best course of options. So it's
just, ugh. I'm glad I got mine out. I'm glad I don't even remember getting mine out because I got them out while getting implants in my teeth. Excuse you.
Well, I finished this point up with because I know after I tweeted, because I tweeted about this, we had a lot of very generous people reach out and say like, "Can we help? Can we help?" And you can, but don't worry about creating some crazy big donation or anything like that, guys. The payment plan that they're gonna let me do is something close to like $300 or a month over like 18 to 24 months. I don't remember the specifics. I've got it in my backpack. But point of it is, just keep tuning in. Help us keep BaseTradeTV alive. And as long as I'm working, I should be able to afford this. It's just, it sucks because that's probably my DreamHack Montreal trip out the window now.
Well, you should confirm that so I can start looking for other roommates because you already booked the hotel. Yeah.
Anyways, so for the game, we got this underway. We got the medevacs moving out. I wasn't even going to talk about that. Thanks for reminding me. I hate you.
My bad.
We got the medevacs moving out. uThermal's got a pretty nice drop with this. Let's not forget, uThermal is one of these players who's really good at everything except that very, very late game. We've seen him struggle little bits and here and there, but when it comes to this part, the early attacks, this is where he shines. So wouldn't mind coming down. 2 medevacs is a lot of Marines.
What the fuck? Okay, I guess he's having trouble with the co-caster.
Oh.
Yeah, double drop of Marines right into the main base, and apparently Elazer just had no idea this was coming. Now that would be, I mean, it's not, I guess this happens all the time. Like, the Zerg player is just like, oh crap, like they're basically attacking me way sooner than I thought they were. But uThermal really likes this build. So it would be very surprising if uThermal get any free wins off of this, like killing a hatchery or just, you know, steamrolling and actually causing the Zerg to tap out. As it's a pretty aggressive maneuver, but it is something that can be taken care of, like, you know, just with a little bit of appropriate defense, you know, not like super greed, which Elazer was close to, you know, getting, but...
Yeah, I was very close to getting both those metamags. Damn, in the red on both sides. You lose one, but it's got nothing in it. The other one barely gets out alive.
Yeah.
Okay, if you lost Marines inside that, that would have been pretty devastating. 2 Liberators going to come in, though, and shake things up quite a bit. That Woodbine's still up in the main, gets cleaned up finally. This wasn't a bad attack out of uThermal in terms of overall damage, but this was not what he intended from it. Like, this was almost no workers touched through this. I think a queen died. Lots of lings.
It was scarier than it looked scarier than it really was, you know, when he dropped in and there was nothing to meet it for a second, but everything was taken care of just by a handful of lings and a couple of queens. Well, except this Liberator, I guess, harassment. And actually, you're racking up quite a few kills.
Yeah, up to 10 already. Not too bad. And, of course, this is just a nice spot to find in the back. There's no Liberator range. Nothing too crazy just yet. Marines from that earlier drop, I guess, is still cleaning up creep and doing what he can. Being very active around the map. And that is, again, one of uThermal's strong suits. He's very active and good at just being everywhere he needs to be. I think the downside of this for Elazer, though, he's had to reinvest in so many drones, so his army supply is starting to fall off. And if he's going Ling Banelings and, you know, all these melee upgrades, you're not going to want to find yourself down 40 supply to a Terran pushing the middle of the map around 7.5, 8 minutes.
That's a situation you never want to find yourself in. It's not Ling Baneling. Although that is a possibility on this map. He is adding on that Roach Warren, and I guess it's going to be the Invitation Pit. Coming out, well, still sooner than I expected, but, you know, the same type of build that we've been seeing from, like, Narchio and a bunch of other Zergs. Basically, I feel like it's the most standard way you can go nowadays. Melee upgrades, Roach Ravager to hold on, maybe a couple of Infestors, and then as fast as possible to Ultras. It is a style that uThermal also has some trouble against if he doesn't do damage in the mid-game, which he's really trying to do, and he's getting something done.
I feel like the damage he's doing really isn't too bad, though. Well, it's not destroying the drone line, so a lot of this has kept his opponent's army supply really low. I mean, sure, killing Lings isn't that impressive, but if there's no Lings to guard for the Ravagers, you just stand on top of the Ravagers. So, lots of important details going down. Evolution Chamber's getting focused a bit, looking for that Queen kill. Not quite going to get it, though. One medevac down, fights through the Broodlings. He's here to stay, and he's going to take out all 3 of the Queens.
Yeah. Oh my god, that one Marine got 2 roaches. Way to go, buddy. Way to go.
Last second, beast mode enabled.
Yeah. That was actually pretty good. As I said, like, any mid-game damage is going to be, you know, really, really helpful in stalling the process of getting the Ultras. Now, Elazer is still trying to get to Roach Ravager and Fester, and that composition can buy quite a lot of time. You get one good combination, and you take out good 20-30 of their supply and force them back. But uThermal is definitely already in a good position. Third base all saturated up. He's got his production on the way. I guess his combat shield is a little late, and that's, you know, hurting his pushes. Maybe they would have steamrolled by now, but that's a little picky. And there's no 4th base yet for Elazer, so uThermal should know that his tank push, whenever that comes, could probably do quite a bit of damage.
I am getting really curious to see how uThermal's going to handle this. It's just, I really like his army trades. The overall cost efficiency of the game hasn't been too bad at all. But Elazer's still hitting his strides, and he's still getting everywhere he needs to for this. That being said, I guess one of the true merits that comes hand in hand with uThermal, not just in general, but for Dusk Towers especially, is as the Elazer does expand further and further away, it does create more openings. It's really hard to respond all the way to the north when you're being attacked in the south, and vice versa. He's got his army split up pretty decently right now, and I'd say 4 bases you could certainly defend, but once it comes 5 and 6, that might actually be better for uThermal.
Yeah, it's kind of it's silly in a way, but it's true. Like, you can just start dropping if they're really unprotected.
Keen losing too many workers results in him winning a game because it gives him more army.
Yeah, something like that, right? But unfortunately, like, if they get to 5 or 6 bases, it usually means they got an Ultralisk, and if they get an Ultralisk, that usually means that the Terran are better off, like, sure, trying to drop, like, every now and then, but also, you know, worrying about getting attacked and hoping not to die from said attack. But The Ultra's Cavern's already on the way. uThermal's +2 armor was a little delayed. That kind of
His-
sucks, but he could still push with this and probably do a good enough trade.
Right, if he pushes right now, this is a time he can still hit, and he's got an army that will certainly support this. One of the big things is up to this point, he's only been fighting with meager amounts of Marines and no Marauders and 1 or 2 medevacs. Now he's going to have tanks, he's going to have Marauders, full force of the Terran army coming on those front lines. And let's be honest, these Ravagers, they got the damage, and Festers have got the fungals, but I don't know if there's going to be enough. Look at this tank count! This really is important. uThermal gets a lot of damage done here, though, because if he doesn't have the appropriate follow-through. Attack on the top side goes really well for Elazer, though. Corrosive Piles on top of those tanks, forcing the back away once again. uThermal losing out on the front lines for this fight.
I feel like he thought there was like half the army there was.
I think
Like he pushed in really bravely in the middle of a concave of a surround. Like that was the worst place you could ever put your tanks. He still took a decent trade. He's actually still had an even army supply, but he is risking missing that timer on the Ultralisk plating.
Well, I think one of the problems too is I don't think he was expecting to get a fight from 2 sides. Not with the way the tanks are positioned, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where a lot of that came in. So like whether it's half the army or whether it's just the wrong assumption, that went really well for Elazer. Now Elazer, you know, pew pew pew, heading towards that Chitinous plating with the Ultralisks on the way as well. Liberators being made en masse. We're going to have those extra starports coming down to help out with that, especially the fusion core, going to give them that extra range. But at the end of the day, these Ravagers are going to be really nice for picking those out of the sky. You see them sieged up, you don't run in with Ultras, you just throw out 3 Corrosive Piles.
This, by the way, is the cleanest game I've seen from uThermal in getting to the late game anti-Ultralisk. When he was facing Nurchio in 15 games, mind you, so it's a lot of data to take from. He would either get a 4th base or double starport. Like, it was never both, and it was usually while he was basically already dead. Like, Nurchio's already expanded way too much and whatnot. Here, he's not only 4th down and attacking, he's got a 5th, 6th, and 7th on the way, apparently, as 2 more command centers go down. And a 2nd starport's down, too. At a time where Elazer only recently finished his plating, and only recently has been adding, like, to a, extreme Ultralisk count. So, I've actually not been, like, more hopeful for uThermal's late game in a while.
Well, while it does look good, he still has a lot of work he's got to do. I think one of the things, too, is like the drop of the north getting nothing done kind of sucked. The Liberators, I guess, not really in play yet. We got, the Nidus, speaking of Nurchio's, we got the Nidus Rim on the way.
Yeah.
Of course, Nurchio didn't invent the Nidus Rim, but he's the one who really made it look so strong in the late game, and he's done it many times at TvZ. We're going to see that a little bit later today, probably, since we'll have Nurchio versus Bunny coming up after this.
The only game I think that uThermal got to like a decent late game on that the gold map that Avex made, I can't remember the name. The Nidus Rim screwed him up so much. He just lost the game in like 30 seconds. So really scared to see what this Nidus Rim can do. Now a Elazer, we had this conversation right where we couldn't remember if it was a Elazer that made like all the Ultralisks and just kept throwing them away. Did we get a confirmation?
No,
on
that was Guru. That's always Guru.
That's right. You said Guru.
I love Guru. I want to make this very clear because I shit talk him a lot while we're casting sometimes. I really like watching Guru play, and I remember messaging some of the players saying, like, what's the deal? Do you guys actually hate Guru? Because I like Guru, right? Like, so just put it out there. I like Guru. But Guru does some of the shittiest stuff that just doesn't make sense on why it works, but it does. And that's Guru. So if you ever have to question, like, was that stupid play X or Y? You're like, no, it was Guru every single time.
Okay, so I guess then to talk about like why I'm bringing that up, on Dusk Towers, he kept on throwing ultras into pretty bad spots. He like ultra dropped instead of Ling dropped, and it was questionable.
4 ultra drop that killed an engineering bay, a supply depot, and 2 SCVs.
Yeah, like 2 SCVs, yeah. Which is, why I was like, that Nidus Rim can be like a hit or miss, what actually comes out of there. But it was taken care of very quickly by uThermal, so he must be quite on top of late game TvZ lately, because he really does seem like he knows what he's doing here, and he's actually being kind of confident pushing out in the middle of the map like this.
I like these snipes and the Ravagers too, because the Laser's unlikely to replace those as time goes on, giving more power to these Liberators, but still a lot of ultras makes this kind of scary to deal with. Setting up some of these liberation zones going to make it a bit hard because, of course, if you want to duck in there, it's going to take 3 per Liberator. Not something easy or cost-effective.
Oh, split.
Oh,
okay.
he realizes, though, splits into the ultras, but still it's more safe than getting caught by the fungals. And as we see, takes out 2 of the ultras. Not too bad. Ravager's going to die on the north side, and uThermal has found some power here in the late game.
The Nidus Rim does get up, and I think Lings are flooding in, shining that command center, but not that many. Yeah, the 4 line should be enough.
Hero Marauder also gives his life to take that out. Oh, these ultras are getting shreked on that front line.
That's what you like to see from Liberators.
That's exactly what you want to see out of Liberators. Now, of course, another Night Storm's coming down, but he's got this set up. Nothing's going to really pop out of this without dying.
Yeah, this is not worth it anymore. This is actually just, you know, like 2-3 extra Ultras that he just wasted. He's still getting 4 more, and his army supply still isn't super down, but it's not the overwhelming army that we typically see. Like, there's not a lot of buffer for these Ultras, which is why they are running into the Liberation Zones and actually being killed before, you know, the Bios kill the Liberators, and uThermal's push really worked.
I love these SCVs brought to the front line, by the way. Get some repairs going, maybe. These medevacs are so precious and valuable, you don't want to have to rebuild them. You just want to pump Liberators, and more Liberators. But, uh-oh, the Ultras catch the army as they're trying to consolidate their forces. Liberators are in the wrong position for this fight, and the Marauders are... Oh, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place!
Oof, but they are focus firing. That one Ultra will go down. The other two probably would have gone down before they reached the planetary that uThermal has set up, but those Liberation Zones take care of it as well, and Elazer is the one whose composition doesn't look too good. He's adding on some crucial elements, though, more Infestors, of course, and the ones that are sniped, as well as Corruptors, as his Ravager count is no longer very high, and Corruptors would just probably be easier, you know? They would actually float in, get out, and live, probably, because there's really not that many Marines, like...
Yeah,
you know, you would be able to fly in and snipe 1 or 2 Liberators, I think, before losing a Corruptor. Oh,
well, the Infestors going down is going to suck quite a bit. The Ultras, of course, getting sniped away here by those Liberators, but Stimsford snipes off the base with no fungal growth to hold him in place. You'll never catch this kid as he keeps just running away with everything. Another base going to go down. uThermal, oh, he's looking so good right now.
Yeah, the Liberators are still alive, too. The Corrosive Biles, like... If he had 6...
Oh, I think he just realized he doesn't have that many Marines. He stopped to try and kill the Corruptors. That was a mistake. 2 more Ultras go down before all that's said and done, though. And uThermal, really, with these 2 bases, the 2 mining bases of Elazer going down, that's a great fight to lose an army for.
Yeah, it is. That was very good. The one problem is like a counterattack, you know, immediately catching you off guard. But it looks like he has enough Liberators. Because again, there's the Ravager.
GG! uThermal. Very nice game number 1 out of this guy.
Yeah. And didn't seem like he had a problem at all for Slay game.
No, well, for a brief moment, yes. He got a little bit there in the middle, but brought it back quickly after. King Sejong coming up next for game 2. Let me go get this loaded. Okay, so... Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the TING Open. We've, of course, got 5 best of 5s coming at you today. We're just getting into the first preliminary match still. So if you've just tuned in, you haven't missed anything. There's a lot of good games coming. But it's funny you brought up that Nurture uThermal map contest finals. Again, 15 maps played over there. Because we might actually see a rematch of that somewhere here in the group.
Yeah. I am hoping to. Actually, I expect it to happen. uThermal looks very strong right now. Let's see what happens to King Sejong, but I expect Nurture to win versus Bunny, and then that would lead to a rematch.
That'd be cool. Quick reminder, by the way, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be casting Snoot's tournament. I just saw that on the calendar, so I want to bring that up. He created a map. Like, Snoot, the player, worked on building a map with AVAX, and it's a tournament that's only going to feature this one map. Even in best of 3s, you play the same map 3 times. It'll be kind of interesting. But we'll see you guys here in a second for King Sejong Station. Alright, folks, welcome back. Game number 2 in this best of 5 for the TING Open. Zombie had me distracted talking about myself, so I would like to, of course, give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TING. They're a U.S. mobile phone service, and sadly, unfortunately, only available in the United States. But if you're in the United States, do us a favor and check out bttv.ting.com. You get $25 in credit you can use to buy anything from their store, whether it's a new phone or anything like that, or you can just put it towards a monthly phone bill. Try out their services for what is almost free. In the bottom right side of this wonderfully snowy map, it's going to be the green Zerg, Elazer.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is uThermy.
uThermy is so squirmy when it comes to dodging those Ultralisks and making game 1 look nice.
Oh, you.
No, but for real, that was a fantastic game out of him. And that's not just like, oh my god, Terran in the late game. That was, oh my god, watching uThermal specifically in the late game.
It was very clean. Like, that's a game, I think, that, like, everything worked out as you would expect without the game ending, basically. Hopefully the game ends in the mid game. But you do a little pressure, you do a couple of drops, they do enough damage. You do a push, 1 or 2 pushes, they do enough damage. They keep the laser down and cornered and on the back foot, and then you follow up with good macro behind it, and just continue pushing Elazer back. I mean, at no point did Elazer seemingly feel very comfortable. He was always losing something important, his Infestors, his Ravagers, his Queens, early on, and then of course his Ultras to the Liberators. And that, all that doesn't happen, all the dominoes don't fall over. He has a Queen transfuse army with the Ultras. He has more Ravagers to actually take down those Liberators faster. Maybe he gets to Aspire faster for Corruptors and all that good stuff. But it was a pretty flawless game from uThermal, except for that tank push being surrounded. But even if it was surrounded, it still did enough damage.
I don't know why it set me thinking that you really like do a little damage. It's like that. What's that song? Do a little dance. Make a little love.
Get down tonight.
Do a little drop. Make a little damage. Get dropped tonight. Get dropped tonight.
That's not a good thing though. Like.
Okay, well, uThermal is gonna have his work cut out for him if he decides to do the crazy tactic here on King Sejong. But he's actually not going for that fast siege tank. He's not putting anything behind the rocks yet. Asterisk. He's actually going for 2 Hellions. Now, this may be turned into an armory, and this may end up being him getting really aggressive because we've seen him throw out so many Hellbat attacks in the past. But I really, truly thought on King Sejong we'd see him just rush out for a tank or something and try and abuse those back rocks.
Yeah, he's that player.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that you can't. You can actually follow this up with that, and if the rocks are still up at any point, you can get over there. But the idea is that the earlier you do it, the more annoying it is to deal with.
Well, I guess he has other things in mind, like the Hellion drop, apparently. I can see an armory on the way. He's gonna ask for it now.
Huh.
Yeah, just a Hellion drop.
I mean... Yep. I'm curious to see how that'll work, right? Because I guess the Lazer's going to think, okay, you can put the 2 Queens of the choke of the ramp. I won't need that much defense, and if he gets cocky and doesn't build enough Lings, then yeah, that's great. But he is building a lot of Lings right now, and whatever version of this drop he'd like to do might not be so effective.
Well, the medevac... Nope, it's not going to be seen. Just kidding. Elazer went to the Xel'Naga. I thought maybe he was going to try and start poking the back rocks, but... That's perfect for uThermal. My worry was that, people are just automatically building spore crawlers against liberators on this map anyway, and a spore crawler will obviously take away the power of lifting and getting out of there. You would just suicide the Hellions. Now, they go around the spore crawler and even going to that natural, so the medevac might be able to bring back the Hellions more than once.
Again, of course, the Lazer's got an overload over here, so see this coming. For uThermal, he'd obviously love to have a distraction, but doesn't send the Reaper in first.
Yeah, just pick up the Hellions. Alright. I mean, a Hellion drop is never really supposed to do a whole lot, but, I mean, you went for Hellions, they never do a whole lot, honestly, anymore. They barely clear up creep anymore. Your best bet is usually suicide them. By getting the medevac, maybe you increase your chance of suiciding them in a better way, and you have a medevac, which is never that bad, like to have a medevac, right? You could have gone for a Banshee, and that would have been cool. You could have gone for a Liberator, and that might have distracted for the Hellions, but for a medevac. And while it's not really working, it's not dying yet either.
There's no part of me that sees this happen in StarCraft and go like, yeah, that makes sense. Hellions can shoot up 2 levels of cliff like that.
Yeah, they just,
Like when Marauders shoot stupid, the custom shell like kind of curves around. It's like watching Luke fire into the Death Star, right? So you can kind of believe that a little bit. But the flame, you're just like, no. These aren't firebenders.
There's that Liberator, and he saves the medevac. At this point, I think suiciding the Hellions might have been okay in that natural, but I spoke too soon.
Yeah, and got most things here killed. Liberator's still up. See if we can keep that harass going. We got Morkov in chat saying anything sign up numbers to share. I don't have any up-to-date numbers from the last, I think a week ago is the last time we asked, because a week ago is when they told us, yeah, we'll keep it the same. If you guys can get 40 people signed up for TING, we'll go for a Season 3 type thing. And that was really early on, so we only had like 4 people signed up or something. We're really hoping that by the time we're through the round of 16, we'll be at least halfway. I think it's kind of the goal, the benchmark to try and hit. We did so exceedingly well in Season 1. I'm really glad that they didn't raise the bar. Oh, well, these guys got 54, no problem. So let's raise that from 40 to 50.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that either. This Liberator is really trying to make something work, but I think it is Dunzo, and in fact, it almost died.
Dunzo, Washington.
Damn, that almost died. uThermal though, I mean, like, okay, his Hellions didn't do a whole lot. They got Lings.
Well, that's.
But the Queen defense has been good for Elazer these 2 games.
Well, that's a really big difference between the first game and this game, and that's why we see Elazer actually be able to move out. I don't think we saw him trying to attack uThermal almost at all last game. And a lot of that was like that early 20-something-ish drones getting killed forced him to make so much more. They didn't have any army sort of surplus. This time around, well, he's not rocking the army supply lead. He still has army supply to be out and active on the map with, such as, for example, these Lings.
Yeah. Well, this game looks already better for Elazer. He scouts the double drop, so should have Lings or Roaches, because he once again is going for the same builds, Roaches, Ravagers, into Infestors, into Hive. On location, and that'll stop the drop from ever unloading. So, uThermal should also notice this and not unload. Ling's still trying to be annoying at uThermal's 30. He's probably gonna do. Oh, he does have a bunker. They just run around it. And he's a wall too.
Yeah, that'll get set up a little bit later, obviously. Double drops in that main though. This is gonna be a really nice attack if you can get some good kills, but. Looks like Lazer's a little bit too close and a little bit too fast in that response. Well, trying to focus down top of the medevacs means the Marines got a couple more hits in, but with so many Roaches, there's no way that was going to stay.
Yeah, there's already, they were already in position and more piling in, and the Queen's target in the medevac makes it absolutely, like, great defense. I was going to say, that time they had combat shields, but oh well.
I'm already really worried for uThermal. He hasn't been able to scratch at Elazer at all. Double drops here, Hellions there. Just not going well for him.
I can get not going for the early tank push that we were talking about, the kind of cheesy strat, really annoying one, but not to go for tanks at all is very weird. He is still going for Widow Mines, and Widow Mines, they can get hits, but they're obviously like only one, and then they usually die, whereas tanks can be microed, and they get multiple hits and multiple splash, and it just seems like it would be a better composition against what Elazer has. But uThermal's also gone for like max bio compositions, like literally no splash whatsoever, and he's made it work occasionally. Actually, I can't remember the last time he made it work, but I'm sure he has. Drop gonna be cleaned up. Tries to spend a couple of Infestors on its way out, sent one to get out, with that.
Good fungals nonetheless, though. Of course, we have some more Marines over here on the right side. Picks up one of the Queens on the high ground. So good splits out of uThermal. Not many workers killed, but hey, you know what? We got a new sub. Thank you very much to Jabush16.
Thank you.
New sub hype.
Not paying attention too much to that one drop, but does save some of the Marines. So he still has 2 active drops, even though they're not as powerful.
Well, he's got 2 active forces. Yeah, quit casting. What's wrong with you?
Stop. Yeah, but I definitely like that he saw the Lings attacking the rocks. I was going to bring that up. That would be very annoying, because that would bring his entire army back, which would totally take his attention away.
He still has to deal with this, though. The rocks being so low, they're going to fall over if anything sneezes on them. So building more depots or barracks to wall that off, just something, anything. I guess a couple of Hellbats in play, which is kind of funny to see. This is where the Widowmine question becomes very interesting to me, because it could wipe out this massive flood of Lings, and if that's the case, then again, you just stim on top of the Ravagers, no problem, easy peasy. On the other side of this, though, if it's a slow stalemate, Ravagers will always win. They can corrosive bile the Widowmines, you don't even need detection. It's very obvious where Widowmines are burrowed. Oh, this is a problem. This is not a wall off at all. This isn't even an attempt at a wall off. This is just him throwing depots down wherever he can.
Just Sim City. I was gonna say though.
Oh, the Infestors all get picked off though. One barely gets out.
They get a really good fungal on those units, so that's why they're all like one shot by these Lings. So that army actually went down pretty quickly. Oh. That could have been a lot worse for Elazer. Because I was gonna say, I think a base trade would have actually favored uThermal here, as Elazer's army right now isn't that strong. It is waiting for those ultras.
He's all over the place.
It's strong enough to defend, but not really to.
Right, he can fight on one army at a time, I think, no problem. But as we see, chasing down these drops has proven to be difficult. He got cut off on one side, just picks up on this one to fly away. Fungal growths.
Oh, he's not paying attention.
Oh, he's busy looking over here. I mean, a lot of damage is going down in the natural. You can't blame him, but Elazer just missed off on 2 very big pickoffs. And that being said, Ultras are on the way. His plating's already begun. uThermal has yet to run away with his game, but he's looking really good right now.
It is important, like, it's yet to run away. Sure, he's at 30 army supply lead, and those upgrades, okay, that's a big difference, I think, from last game. The upgrades last game, I think, ended up being more even though the Carapace was sniped. But he's actually going to have almost a full upgrade lead here. Takes down the 4th base, and this is where maybe things are getting too late. As now the Ultras, they still have to wait like 30 seconds for the plating. They can't come in and save these bases or save the army. They're just gonna get sniped.
That Liberator getting some shots off too, like 4 shots before it finally gets picked off. There's that Widow Minefield to retreat to, which will do some decent damage to the Ultras. Not something you often consider, but hey, whatever works, works. Gross and Boss flying down all over the place, left and right. You can see Elazer panicking just a bit. uThermal keeping it kind of cool, but his army supply is still in a bit of trouble.
Oh, those Ultras are just about to have plating, and that will make them a lot scarier going up against this position, which isn't quite a planetary. But the Liberators are sieged up, 3-3 would finish as well, and the planetary would eventually finish.
Oh, no.
And it'd be going up a ramp, so.
This is a problem kind of so happening. Scans his own rocks to see what's going on. A little bit late as they're already down. Reinforcements should alone be able to be enough to clean this up. Pushes on through though. That Ultra goes down. Widow Mines get those shots. Planetary's still alive. This is not something I think Elazer can actually break a planetary with. Not with a full surround of repairs at least.
Yeah, there's the repairs. He just dodges the Corrosive Bile at first. Not a lot of medevacs left over, and the top side is not being healed whatsoever, but they are sniping those Ultras.
He's desperately trying to kill the planetary, but I just don't think it's worth it. It goes down, but that costs him his entire army. Now down to 40 supply. He knows it too. GG! uThermal takes game number 2 with a very nice 2-0 start to this best of 5.
Yeah, looking quite strong. Damn.
And Elazer, I just want to point this out there for those who don't know. Elazer's actually a pretty good player. We regularly see him in the semifinals and finals of not just our weekly cups, but like IEM qualifiers, DreamHack qualifiers, you name it. So this is it's looking pretty good for uThermal today. He's been practicing his EVT, I guess. But regardless, we're going to go to a small 2-minute break, so don't go anywhere, folks. Game number 3 comes back when we return. Alright, welcome back to game number 3, and this could be everything. As he is on his last life, spawning in the upper left side, it's going to be the Green Zerg, Elazer.
In the bottom right, it is the Blue Terran uThermal, who apparently has already won this, Rifkin.
What?
Our mods have messed up bets. Not in the way they usually do, but by forgetting this is a best of 5 and not a best of 3.
Ah, well, let's hope that uThermal doesn't lose then, so that the bets aren't incorrect. I just want to give a quick shout out to fellow Nixtella, that's Beyond GG or whatever. It says, for a $5 donation to me personally, he says, for your teeth, I'm sorry I had the same job problem, messed up, or I had the same problem, job was messed up, and I had to break it and refuse it back in the day. They didn't think about bridges.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've heard of that happening to people.
That was another option I had, and I said I didn't want to do that. I'll go with the more expensive, less painful version, please.
Yeah, plus that would have taken you out of commission for a long time. Longer time.
Yikes. Okay, well, sorry to hear you had to go through that. Yeah. But anyways, that's actually made me feel quite queasy just thinking about that.
Right? Oh god.
Anyway, sorry about the bets, guys. Unfortunately, the bot thing is pretty primitive, and we don't really have a way to refund that for when problems arise. So just accept our apologies and hope that this ends up going correctly.
Right.
Now, uThermal was actually doing this very interestingly, 2 barracks, but not a second gas. So I don't know how much he's planning to dedicate to Reapers.
Right. This is uThermal, though. Like, it's not surprising at all. Elazer knows that too, and is already basically trying to hard counter this. uThermal does do it a lot on Frozen Temple, but the problem with it isn't necessarily the snowball into win before 5 minutes, and that's, one of the problems. It's that even if they don't win, the macro game behind it's still pretty strong, assuming that they have really good Reaper control, which uThermal does. So, while Lazer's not going to lose the game, he could just simply be contained for far too long. We'll see how this plays out. And how uThermal plays out, too. Because once he realizes, like, oh shit, like, Queen's already out, he went for kind of a counter build. Like, what is he going to do? Is he going to keep on going into Reapers, or try and macro a little bit sooner? This
is when you go for +1 and make a proxy planetary fortress.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Does anyone else remember that game? Stilky vs.
Anyone?
No, but you're right. Like, this is something where the Elazer is already hard countering, but doing so in a way that kind of really hurts himself at the same time. you know, you lose out on so much with how expensive these roaches are early. If you cut drones, actually, this one, no, he's still squeezing drones out, so maybe not. Maybe he's just done exactly what he needs to do here.
The problem is that if uThermal just keeps dedicating to the Reapers, they'll actually overtake roaches in low numbers. So this is a very it's a very hard balancing game. I actually feel for Zerg very, very strongly in this situation, but I think you get a couple more queens maybe, and you should be okay.
Well, I really like that Elazer went for the Ravagers. This is going to make this a lot easier to deal with. Not easy peasy, but easier. It's not about the Corsair battles either. Yeah, it's just with that extra range on their auto attacks.
Yeah, but you know they'll die a little bit easier than the roaches, and once the Reapers get to that snowballing bounce, then they'll die real quick.
Nice pick off on that queen.
Yeah. I really think that Elazer should be splitting his money between maybe more queens and more drones. I don't even know about more roaches, to be honest. I mean, it seems like the best counter is just to go straight to roaches, because Ravagers have the range we were talking about, but the roaches will be kited if you try and chase, and they aren't very quick, so they don't kill the Reapers very quick either.
Speaking of that, the response was not very quick. He just kind of sat there and let the Reapers get on top of him. No kiting going on whatsoever, and that's really going to suck.
Yeah. That's a lot of roaches. Elazer has either over-defended, like he's panicking, or he's thinking about moving out. I guess now we can split the roaches, so maybe that's a fine amount.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would call this an over-dedication yet. It's still, like, kind of necessary how out of hand these Reapers are getting, but I would almost wish he would have half the roach count and more Ravagers. For those who don't know why I'm yearning for this, right? You're watching it happen in this game, it's not looking so hot, but we've cast, I think the first time we ever saw it was like Xanster back in the beta, and we've seen a couple pros since then. A lot seem to prefer Lings, just generally speaking, but Ravagers, when you got 3 or 4 of them and they start just taking down those Reapers with their auto attacks, it's not a problem to hold on to. Lasers only ever had like 2 Ravagers at a time though, and that's not enough. The Reapers just back away and heal. It's like trying to kill mutas with the Marines. Like, you just barely don't kill them, they fly away, full health, come back 4 seconds later.
Yeah. Lazer's finally pushing back the Reapers enough with a little bit of creep spread to get a third base, which is, you know, definitely necessary right now. But I mean, you look at the worker count, and it's really not that different. Not as different as a Zerg would want. uThermal didn't go so greedy that he has a third CC, but he still is going to have Stim, for instance. Like, he's still getting very, very useful units and upgrades behind all this aggression. I think Elazer has done a good job splitting, you know, not dying, not letting it snowball, but it's still a complicated scenario. And in fact, man, those grenades almost took out that hatchery.
So, speaking of this too, the creep spread I really like because it gives the roaches and the Ravagers just that little bit of extra mobility. Not just like, okay, you got some vision, but you can actually keep up with the Reapers running around. But what I'm worried about is he's focused so much on these Reapers. He's got to at some point have noticed there weren't additional numbers coming there. These didn't keep growing. Like, there's no scouting going on for Elazer, and that kind of sucks. He's now moving in with the Overseer, and he's going to see, okay, my opponent actually made other things. Factory just finished up with the tech lab. Starport's double producing medevacs. Of course, third base on location would be a great scout to see as well.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly knows that it's transferring over, but it would be the question, is he like, you know, 5 racks all enemy, or does he have a third CC?
Yeah.
But even if it's, you know, one or the other, you still have a very powerful army, you know? They're not up to something that can take care of medevacs, and a uThermal, he can just try and push as long as he can, and then pick up if things go south. The Reapers also help this push a lot. Grenades go down, add a ton of damage, splits so they crowd control. I mean, actually, the Reapers are sometimes the scariest part of this army. Like, they do replace the tanks, and in some situations, then some, if they get really good grenades.
I showed a Hammer 2 for the resub. 21 months coming in strong as the fight goes on. This looks good for uThermal. Good guy, uThermal, trying to make Dominicious bet mistake. Or Dominicious, I can never say his name.
Right, it's so weird.
He's correcting our moderator's mistakes. Good guy, uThermal.
Right? Good guy, uThermal, triple, you know, Reapers.
Yeah, oh, that's a good guy,
Not
scumbag. It's like
exactly.
Scumbag Mark, good guy, uThermal, something along those lines. Like,
you get the hat on the good guy, yeah, exactly.
Well,
so
no, he has a hat all the time, and his name's Mark, so.
The good guy?
No, uThermal, his name, real life.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Hi, it's funny, I get it.
God damn it, Zombie Grove.
I'm sorry. Anyway. So, this is, it was obviously actually a very good attack from uThermal, but Elazer held. Like, that was close to snowballing if he didn't have 14 roaches on the way he probably would have, but he still took a really good trade. Part of that was the Reapers probably could have gotten involved a little bit sooner, but that is also nitpicking. And uThermal, you know, he has the 3rd CC up. There aren't an even worker counts. The upgrades are certainly in favor of Elazer, but of course they're upgrading for the future. He really doesn't even have, he actually does not have speedlings yet, and he's upgrading for speedlings. I mean, characters obviously helps everyone, but still, like, he's looking towards the future for that hive, especially, and that's going to be really hard to get to with how this game has gone.
Yeah. Yeah. This is... I'm trying to make sense of this, right? Like, you look at the army supply, you look at the worker count, and we know even doesn't mean even when it comes to TvZ, but I'm just a little bit shocked that this game has gotten to a point where we are heading towards what is an almost normal looking mid-game, just at a later timing.
Yeah, almost. The upgrades continuing on for Elazer, so they'll keep that upgrade lead, which is pretty important. The tank count hasn't grown dramatically. You know, there's like 5 tanks, it'd be like, ooh, this might be the killing push, but only 3 as the 3rd one pops out. It's not so bad. And Elazer just might have it in him to hold on again. He's got Infestors and Corrosive Biles now. Well, he's trying to get Infestors. But we'll see what this push can do. Not a lot of bio, but still at a pretty good army supply. Upgrades just about to finish. So close, so close. Oh, and the rocks aren't broken down. This could be a couple free shots. There you go. Okay, nothing. Didn't kill thing. Oh, a single brooch. Is that down to Corrosive Bile? Single brooch. Well.
Well, falling back off this, not able to push through with what he had. Hive Tech is about a third of the way done for Elazer, so the question kind of comes down to uThermal once again. What's he looking to do for this late game? How is he looking to handle what is inevitable Ultralisks that are sure to be coming?
Yeah. Well, he's already got a 4th CC about to be finished up, so I imagine he's adding on that 2nd starport soon too. This push is big, and it has a couple more tanks with it too. If it gets into a good position, it could maybe not win the game, but certainly lead to a similar looking game as the last 2, where he's just kind of snowballing in a very slow manner, but still taking control of the game in a big way. The upgrades are certainly a big difference, though. Oh, that was a good fungal.
Well, this is where everything changed when the Zerg Nation attacked, and unfortunately, Elazer just lost out on so much supply. uThermal lost out on so much supply. He has no choice but to run home. There's really no way he stays in that front line.
That lost him so much. That lost him momentum. Biggest thing. Not
just momentum, but that was seriously like 30-something supply that went down. And the worst part was, like, if it was just bio, no medevac losses, you could kind of justify it, but a couple medevacs going down with that really just salt to the wound, man. Salt to the wound.
Yeah. And his upgrades aren't going to time out nicely with a push anymore. You know, before those ultras are ready, they're quite far behind, and now he has to replace an army. Sort of. And he's already caught up in army supply again, but that was brutal. That pushed him back when he was hoping to stick around for a little while longer. Now, if Elazer pushes, I don't know about that. That could lose him his army. This is actually pretty dangerous from a Elazer.
Thank you to Roy Cycle for the resale, by the way, as the fight does commence. Tanks are set up pretty nicely, and well, you know what? Elazer may have caught a sick fungal. He also just ran into like 5 tanks, so kind of making up for it. Awkward fight in the bottom left. Not sure why this isn't accompanied by at least 1 medevac, but goes pretty well for, of course, the player with Marauders.
Yeah, a little bit, even if their upgrades are kind of poor.
Yeah, 2-2's finishing up just now. That's gonna hurt trying to deal with the Ultras, as if they weren't already gonna be tough enough to deal with.
Yeah, the fact that his upgrades are now really late, big difference between this game and the last few, but he still is able to hit with 2-2 before plating is done with, again, a good number of tanks. Like, he had a nice number, just he lost the bio to cover it. Now that he has a bio again, maybe he can trade really well here. Yeah, I'm a lot more careful this time.
Loving the tanks, helping thin the herd, but unfortunately they're not going to do so well once we start seeing his ultras come out. Also worth noting, Night Swarm comes up once again. uThermal was almost unfazed by this in game 1. I can't imagine this catches him off guard too badly here, but if his attention's on the front line and he has nothing at home, it could be bad news.
Yeah. Elazer's been winning the income war for a while now, even with uThermal, you know, pretty consistently expanding. Of course, he opened with such a cheese that his main is already mined out, and actually that's where the Nidus is going to go, where the minerals are supposed to be.
Whatever works, I guess. He sees this coming, though. I love this. He's not at all distracted to the point where he doesn't see this coming. He can focus fire down, take out the Night Swarm, whatever comes out can't come out. The planetary does fall, but at quite the cost. An entire army of Zerg plus Ultralisks. Now,
he's trying to attack to the north too.
Yeah. The main can and probably should just be floated over at this point, so losing that base is not exactly too devastating. But we are at this point where, you know, uThermal in, I think it was Dusk Towers, where he had like 7 or 8 command centers extra on top of what he needed. Like, funny to see, but he was able to afford that. Not so much this game, but he's still not in such a tough spot, as he does, in fact, go float that 4th CC, or the main CC, over to the 4th base.
Yeah. Okay, so he finds a very calm position on Frozen Temple. He can place his tanks. Again, I mean, he's at 9 tanks right now. That is a lot of damage. Like, even if Ultras are the ones that go through first, 9 tanks with a damage will actually slaughter fully upgraded Ultras. They can actually pack quite a punch, but... Oh, the Fungals go down a lot of those Marauders.
Even then, most of the Ultras have been removed, so there's not a lot of follow-through for that. Some are over to the left. Most of the ones on the front lines got focused down. Tanks don't normally do that great, but they got some good shots when necessary, and now there's no fodder for these Ultras, so we're going to see uThermal try his best to kite these as long as possible.
Why do we have 2 more layers on the way? I've seen like 1 layer accidentally, but 2?
Backsies, upsies, man. What if one dies?
Exactly. Kind of wants a Night Swarm, but of course has to pay attention to other things right here. Another tank goes down, and like 9 tanks is so much different than 3 or 4. 9 tanks will actually obliterate like anything basically they come up against, but 4, not quite the same. So the Ultras have finally pushed through.
Unsiege tank actually doesn't have too bad damage. They pierce that armor.
Yeah. The tanks really, I love that when tanks are an option, they just so rarely are. You trade the tanks, you know, people don't really get super fast double factory production anymore. Liberators seem like a better option.
You know, it's funny, you have the Cyclone, which is a unit that's fast and can move and shoot. And they kind of really were working along the lines of a Phoenix for that. I would love if they kept tanks at this sort of moderately slow unit that could move and shoot. It wouldn't be broken, it'd be really nice. You get that turret that swivels. That's the way you can't.
There's actually, I mean, that was a big part of, like, you know, the Lush's video like, back in the day. GG. Uh-oh, mods.
Uh-oh, Domin. Watch out, dude.
Oh, God. Okay, what's the next map? Invader.
By the way, our lovely resub has corrected me on the pronunciation of his name. It's Roy Kyle is how I'd like it pronounced. So thank you for letting me know. Just a blanket statement, guys. I don't know how to say anybody's name ever. I can't even say Jessica's name properly. So if you have a name that, and we're saying it wrong on stream, let us know, please. You're doing us a favor because we feel less embarrassed about it. But what is the next map so I can load this up?
Invader.
All right. So I did a stupid thing yesterday on top of all of that mess because I got really stressed out. I cut my hair.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I'm wearing a hat on stream today. I'm not too thrilled with how it turned out.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I got about 2 weeks to try and grow some of it back.
I wish my hair... Okay, this is the only time where I've ever wished like my hair would grow faster. Usually I like my hair short. But, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it right now. I just want it to be like an inch. It's like in a very awkward spot right now, in my opinion. But anyway, but the longer it grows, the more brunette shows through, rather. So I start looking weirder and weirder. Until I'm halfies.
I'll tell you, the dyed hair looks so good. You should... I would donate to like I don't have like a lot of money, obviously.
Save the blonde?
Yeah, save the blonde. I mean, I'm getting my ass reamed here with bills, but I'd put $5 towards that.
I might. I don't know. I'm waiting until it looks really weird. Luckily, it barely shows up on the webcam. Like, it just seems like I have like a shadow, I guess. But in real life, especially with like in a ponytail, it's really noticeable.
Alright, well, uThermal needs just a moment here. We'll get this going as soon as we can, as soon as he's back. Just while we're waiting for... we're in the lobby, like everyone's good to go. We're not doing ads, we're just waiting for the players. But real quick, guys, I just want to give a blanket thank you now that we got some more people on stream tuning in. Yesterday's Reddit thread was not exactly a witch hunt for once, which was weird. I was taken aback by that. But there were some pretty shitty people being shitty in that thread, and I just want to give a thank you to... It's got to be, it feels like almost the first time. I know it's not the first time, but it feels like the first time we've had that level of support where we had other people saying BaseTradeTV made the right call or just basically defending us vocally for once, which was nice. Anytime that we have like drama arise, usually somebody will they'll whisper us or send us a private message and be like, "You guys are doing good, keep it up." But you never see that stuff made public. And for once, it was. So it felt really good. So if any of you guys were part of that, just please know that I especially appreciate your support in a really big way.
Yeah, the Reddit thread was actually fun.
Actually, it's kind of funny because we were going to bed last night and we got informed they got posted on the Korean forums. And like, I guess majority of people were just saying SOS is an asshole. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah. I feel like that thread though did encapsulate like the whole problem with the organizers alliance or whatever.
It did,
and
but hang on, before you make your point, what bothered me most about the thread is the title was wrong. Whoever made that said he was banned for one full year, not the rest of the year, which is very different amounts of time. That's 7 months versus a full 12.
Yeah. That, but I was gonna say is that people were both saying "lol, SOS, why would he care?" About this ban, and then people saying it was too harsh. And then it's like, where's the middle ground, guys? And that was always the problem with the Organized Alliance, that people were like, oh, 3 strikes, that'll never happen within 6 months. They'll never be banned. And other people saying like, oh, don't be so harsh on players.
They're ready, by the way. Yeah, that part of why we kind of backed away from it too is no offense to Fear Dragon, we love him. He just wasn't really willing to take like a hard stance on things. But anyways, Invader. Talk more on that later, guys. All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 4, as this did not end on game 3. Moderators. It's 2-1 in overall score, and in the bottom left, he is behind but fighting his way back. It's going to be the green Zerg player, Elazer.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran, he is uThermal.
Okay, so uThermal, I don't even know what to say about that last game, other than Elazer was good at deflecting. It was a blind counter from the get-go. You had to question like how far that was really going to go. I don't think there's any build in the game, by the way, like whether it's a macro build, a cheese build, like 2 base build, if you get hard countered, you're gonna have a bad time. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, but it's just like that specific scenario, man, like, I can't remember the last time we've seen the triple Rax Reaper pushed back easily, unless we could blame the Terran for it. Like, oh my god, who loses their first Reaper? Like, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It does seem like if they don't make a mistake, then they actually just kind of win, or there's just some really, like, great / lucky holds. And Elazer, he had to persevere for like quite some time before I think he felt really comfortable. Maybe with those corrosive battles and phone combination, he's finally like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna win this game. But up until then, it always seemed a little bit clutch.
I wonder how weird StarCraft would be to have like a handicap system like that in there, in it, where you lose a game, you gotta take 5% health off all your units, or your opponent's units, and so forth, to the point where like, great, now that I'm terrible, I can still win.
I mean, there's actually a couple of good ideas for, like, bronze to diamond league tournaments for that, where, like, because right now you'd have to split up each league, so it's, like, bronze, silver usually, or, platinum, diamond leagues. But if you can handicap a person, then maybe it'd be a little bit easier, but handicap doesn't ever multiply like that, it doesn't multiply correctly. It makes you look really, really bad.
I think you mean handy capable, Zombie Grub?
My bad.
Been really insensitive right now.
Yeah,
No,
right.
but I would be kind of cool to see like something like that go on. I know that we played, for example, some silly 2v2s a while back against fans of the stream, and I had jokingly set my health to 50%, thinking like, ah ha ha, this will be easy. It's not, guys. It doesn't matter how bad your opponent is, what league they're in. If a Banshee can one-shot a worker, a Banshee can one-shot a worker, okay? Like,
I had to build his structures, like, he was like, oh, I realized missile turrets to go down to, like, 1 shot.
Widowmines did full damage, though, which was nice. So we learned that if I went mass Widowmine, at least I could still contribute.
Yeah, thanks for contributing.
We won that game, by the way. And it was thanks a large in part to my Widowmines. A little bit to you. You helped a bit, I guess. But the Widowmines were just absolutely magic.
Thanks. That's up on our YouTube, by the way.
Oh, I actually didn't know if that game had been uploaded or not. Yeah, that was a while
I definitely
ago.
uploaded it. I thought you did too, but I don't remember.
I probably did. I know I upload a lot of stuff. Hey, so by the way, also, just while we're waiting on this pause, Zombie and I started playing Borderlands 2 last night. Oops.
Well, yeah, with the rest of the BaseTradeTV crew.
Well, not Joey.
Not Joey.
Oh. There you go, leaving somebody out again. You did this all night last night. You're doing it again today. I don't think
Wait,
you
when
realize.
did you last night?
But Olivia, I want to play with you. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to come too, but whatever. Like,
Oh my god, you take things so personally, Jesus.
I'm just saying, you
know
leave
what?
people out all the time,
I
man,
only want
and
to
it
play
hurts.
with Olivia. That was my way of trying to get you out of the call. That was my way of being polite. I'm just kidding.
What?
Right there. Right there.
What?
I wanted alone time with Olivia.
You're a shitty friend.
I'm a poo friend.
Anyways, I don't know. I was just gonna comment. We were not planning on streaming it or anything, but if you guys have like any desire or like deep-seated desires to watch a stream Borderlands sometime, hit us up on Twitter and let us know. A problem we're having, we just recently went over with our co-op videos, is turns out a lot of people really like our co-op videos, but I've been doing co-op for like a year now, and nobody told me that they'd want to see co-op, so I didn't upload any content for it whatsoever, and now people want to see a lot of it. So vocalize yourselves, guys. Let us know what sort of content you want to see. We know you want to see StarCraft 2 tournaments. Heck, that's what we're casting, and that's what we do every day. But anything extra, anything outside of that, we don't know what you guys want to see.
Yeah.
So
I seriously have a very poor perception of what people want.
Right.
Because I'm so elitist.
yeah, so again, like, it sounds so silly and it sounds so simple, but like one comment on YouTube, that spurred me to upload like 4 videos this week. All co-op content.
Yeah.
So messaging on Twitter, sending us PMs here on Twitch, whatever your most comfortable medium is.
Yeah. Legitimately, like, jokes aside, you know, I am certainly, like, you know, just 1v1 all the way type person, but even, like, just for being in the scene for 3 years, it's gonna be very different than the person who's just getting into the scene and what they want. Anywho.
Well, again, like, it still blows me away that apparently co-op's more popular than ladder right now, so...
It shouldn't surprise me, but I guess, you know, it's just how many people really want to see videos on it, not just, like, play it themselves. But the Wouldn't drop here, it doesn't seem like it was ever destined to do very much. Elazer just, you know, he's been dealing with most of the drops fairly well with just Queen focus fire. Different levels of damage, obviously, but never, you know, game ending.
Well, he might be able to get a Queen pick off here if he's quick to the draw. Maybe not. Overlord's also a potential target. Back at home, we do have the third setup in natural, so double upgrades coming out as well. uThermal not all slacking on his macro. Sometimes you always do get worried about that though, but he's like the one player who never disappoints in that regard. Doesn't tunnel vision too much on doing early harass, and doesn't focus too much on this one drop.
The yeah, macro's actually looking pretty good. The build looks exactly the same from Elazer, without Reaper shenanigans at first. And I guess this is going to be maybe another minute or two before we really see the main push out, as uThermal's production is only just finishing up. He still has to wait for combat shields, which will time out nicely with 1-1. Invader having been changed oh so long ago. No longer has that middle bridge, but it is still horizontal spawns, and uThermal's push will come not super quickly, but we just gotta be prepared for it.
Shout out to Marcos4912, one of our subscribers, by the way. He says, butt stallion, lol. Yeah, dude. We were playing and Oli Moly got super caught off guard by that. She's like, what? Did he say butt stallion?
I understand that reference.
Alright, so this job's gonna have to be picked up once again. Not going so well here for uThermal, but at the same time, Liberator got away with a few more kills. Drones getting picked off here and there. Still sitting on 63 and 4 bases as the 4th one's on the way. Not too bad for Elazer.
No, not too bad at all. uThermal's gotta get that combat shield started. Combat shields. Okay, well, he remembers me. Third base being taken, of course, a little, you know, towards your opponent, but as I said, like, without that bridge, this is still a very safe third base, especially if you have tanks on those high grounds. Well, it's not building tanks yet. Drops going into the main base is, I think, what everyone expects on this map, even for, like, a 2-base build.
Yeah, I would actually...
The 3-base build's a little later.
I know that's not so common anymore, but I would like to see a Vikings just... We never see it enough on Invader where I feel like there's always Overlords here. They always know you're coming down this path. Why not clear it up? Liberators won't get the job done. We all know that. He's diving... Whoa! Miss control out of uThermal. Oh man, as he did panic, I guess, looking at the natural base. I don't know if that was an F2 or what the deal was, but that was very awkward.
That was, yeah. I was a little worried he lost those SCVs, but no, only 5 have gone down. The rest were pulled pretty damn quick. 2-2 has just started, and that will be behind Elazer's once again. It's kind of similar to that last game. And Elazer looks like he might just be getting the Ultras once more. uThermal's not going to have that nice little, like, you know, ramp up where he does a little bit damage with this drop, and then more damage with this drop, and then the push is really good. He's actually not pushing at all, and when he does push, he won't have any tanks. He's actually going pure Marine, and only just now starting 1 tank at a time. That's not going to be a very high count at all.
Looks like drop in the south got cleaned up, so I looked away for just a moment. The other medevac moving out, so unfortunate there for uThermal.
This was paired up with a push, just to be a distraction. Maybe he's gearing up now, just to drop in the main base. A double drop into the main base, though. Has to unload away from the units Elazer left. Yeah,
Elazer was anticipating this. I love that we're watching kind of Elazer almost grow and adapt in this series. Like, game 1 just looks so silly, and then since then just slowly gets better. Game 2 not so bad, but still loses. Game 3 obviously wins. Game 4 on top of his shit, like, just really not letting any of these drops hurt him. Well, this one, but...
a little bit. Yeah. That high is almost done. uThermal is on that clock, starting like in 10 seconds from the Ultralisk Cavern. No, not even 10 seconds. 1 second, the Ultralisk Cavern starts. And it's going to finish and build plating. And that might just give uThermal enough time to push that 2-2, which seems to be the way these games go. But uThermal, mass Marines still. Adding on the tanks, like I said, but not even any Marauders. Just pure damage here.
What the fuck? There we go. It took like a million clicks to actually get a click on the siege tank.
I hate it because there's got to be like some like value we don't know where if it's X pixels out of your screen, it won't move.
Right? Oh, thank you. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who's getting frustrated by that. Jesus. Huge drop up here to the north. Attack in the middle, not really a lot. It's just mostly lings, so reinforcements should be able to deal with this. It's this drop that's gonna be really nice. He keeps knocking down this 5th base, and well, of course, uThermal I think would rather be knocking down a 4th base. Getting base kills are still pretty important when you're fighting against Zerg. So let's stick away from that larva. Nice kill, not a cancel for uThermal. He does have to defend against these lings. It's looking a little bit rocky, but he's got the numbers for it. And while this army responds to the north side, there is an attack coming straight down the middle. Fungals are on top of this. Drop those tanks, man. Get those shots.
You can't. Oh, dear God. There's so many Fungals. There we go. Finally unleash the tanks.
I can't pick them up either. That's the problem.
Oh, the medevacs.
He can still tear through these Ravagers, though. He got a little bit greedy going for those tanks, but there's that fungal growth to hold the Marines in place. Attacking the north side. We said he's wishing he could get a 4th. Well, he's making wishes come true. 4th base going to go down now for Elazer. Kills out the drone. 17 workers die. 2 more medevacs heading towards the main. This guy's all over the place.
Yeah, now with 1 consolidated push, this was a good multi-pronged attack, and that double drop going into the main. Okay, that probably won't do enough damage. Elazer still has units defending that, but it has caused him a lot of damage elsewhere, losing out on 17 drones. He has a bank, though. Replacing a 4th, not such a big deal. Replacing the drones, he's at 59 anyway, not that low. The Ultralisk are still something that could definitely, like, bring all the things he just lost back. And now it's still up to uThermal. Like, what is he going to do? He doesn't have a 4th base on the way, something he's had in all 4 or 3 games leading up to this, I believe, and no second starport. I'm actually really worried. He's kind of going all-in status right now, and Ultras will probably win that all-in.
Well, we'll find out in a moment's time, as they are popping as we speak. Got a donation coming in from Wharf PL. We'll read that out in a moment, sir, because right now there's some heck going on right outside uThermal's base. A couple lanes to run by. I guess that bunker didn't get replaced from earlier. His 3-3 still far enough off. I don't think it'll be done anytime soon.
Those are Genoland lings that almost have they rip through those pretty quick.
That's Stim. It's like, all right, let's go. Nope. Turn around.
Okay.
Run for your life. Run!
I just felt like they told the Marauder, like, go run.
This is kind of cool, though. I like the idea. He's distracting the Ultra so he can try and focus down that hatchery. It looks like he'll get the kill with the Marines. Nice stutter step with these Marines. Gets a cancel, but still denying that base nonetheless.
I was getting some serious, like, Rainer Party flashbacks to Pineapple.
Throw it at Fear Dragon. What do I do? What button do I press?
This is a problem, though. Elazer is pushing in here with quite a good army, and uThermal doesn't really have a good army to respond with only 9 Marauders, 2 tanks. two
Yeah,
Widow Mines, I guess. Not too helpful either.
I think his best bet is to just run around and try and drop and keep Elazer from pushing in. But Elazer seeing two medevacs move out might have also signaled like, oh, that's two medevacs less of an army you have at home defending.
Yeah. Spire about to finish is actually kind of funnily unnecessary. It'll take down medevacs, which is still a very big deal, but I think it's more for anticipating a couple liberators. Nidus Swarm is noticed, but he just doesn't have anything to respond back to it too quickly. He definitely clicked on it. Oh well.
He's going for drops. But then Ultras comes in the main. This is going to be tough to clean up. Big shouts that they get a Remar for the 27 months, man. Of course, Remar's also subbed on like 5 other accounts because he's crazy and we love him for it.
Yeah, we love Remar. Well, that ended up being so effective, but it got a good chunk of the army out of position, and there's not a mass amount of tanks to hold on in very specific places. Oh, kill that one Ultra, please. I was going to get the infestors. But this might be game. He's in on top of production. He's about to get on SCVs. He is getting a little, away from his army here, and that's when the Ultras start to get sniped.
Well, you say sniped, but it's sniped from like 18 units at a time for 40 seconds.
Slowed. Yeah. Oh no, he's not picking up the CC. Oh god. And that one Ultra still isn't dead. Oh, you can't lose that. Oh no. Oh no.
He lifts it up, but like way too late. He does kill most of the Ravagers, but Elazer remaxes an army pretty easily. More Ultras on the way, but also a Greater Spire. And what's got to be a little bit inducing for uThermal is like he's going to be coming to this late game wondering, where did you have the money for this? I've been constantly killing this 4th base over and over and over again.
Yeah, but 3 bases still, for the most part, mining and a bank that he accrued during that. It's certainly a scenario we see a lot of time. And once you get Ultras, like, they live for a long time. There's no replacing that. Like, you usually have to replace Banelings, for instance, or Lings that counterattack. Usually the Ultras live. That's the whole thing about Ultras, so you can use them very cost-effectively.
The giant Harry Potters? Is that what I'm hearing?
The Ultra that lived forever and ever. Yep, exactly. uThermal is in a very, very bad spot. He's only 30 army down, but that's not very effective army against Ultralisk or Broodlords, which are now on the way.
Warfiel's donation from earlier, by the way, reads, "Save the blonde, drunk cast. I would love to see it again. Hashtag Isabel commercial."
When's the last time we did a drunk cast?
It's been a while. We might be due for another one, I guess.
Hey, we have an excuse.
Rifkin dealing with his money problems stream.
I was gonna say it's also like our first cast anniversary, but whatever you want to choose, you can find any reason to have a drunk cast. Really.
That's true. Actually, yeah. What's the date? What's the actual day of our?
So that wasn't on the thing, just the day that you asked me about it. But if you look up Zotac July 2013 monthly, I think you could find it.
Oh. Well, we'll ballpark it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we'll ballpark it. I mean, I'm sure someone is looking up, like, as I speak, but whatever. Okay, so uThermal still in a very, very bad spot. Has bridged the supply gap a little bit more and only 10 supply down, but again, not very effective in that supply. I'm surprised he's able to afford a second starport with 23 SCVs and 3 bases, but he's trying. Maybe Widow Mines will just live forever too. Like, Elazer will never bother to make an Overseer. And they'll get so many hits to make this game turn around. He's actually denying a 6th base and the main right now, so that's pretty good. Not so much denying the main, he has to pick up, but still getting some damage done in multiple locations.
Keep kiting, boys! Ultra goes down, yeah, he picks up and just unloads right away afterwards. However, he's not the only one getting damage done, and the Elazer's walking all over him. Now, Liberators finally come into play, and there's not that many Ravagers left, so dealing with said Liberators is actually not going to be easy. Realizing this, Elazer's got to be very careful with how he moves these Ultras around, as we see they take some pretty big hits from the Liberators still nonetheless. But attacking the north side, looks like it will knock down this base. This attack's still a little bit stale. Planetary looking interesting. Mineral lines being used to great extent. uThermal is making the best out of a terrible situation.
And look at the overall supply right now. And uThermal's still trying to make things work. The Infestors come in. They actually go on top of those Widow Mines I was talking about, but there are those Broodlords. Not a lot. Something that should be able to be taken care of if you had any economy whatsoever.
But he doesn't, and that's the problem. He floated his command centers around. He's got 1 base mining, literally. This, I guess, took out the Spire just now by the looks of it.
That's one of those 3 Broodlords.
Yeah, Greater Spire.
Well, that's valiant try, but
well, it's
we're
funny
gonna go to the ace match, and Dom is getting sweaty.
Yeah, this is actually really funny though, because if he had lots of Liberators, like a stupid amount of Liberators, dealing with the Broodlords wouldn't be a problem at all. But as you see, look how many shots it takes to kill one Broodlord. There's half dead in the first place.
Already, please. Thank you.
GG. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to the ace match. Game number 5 coming up. Elazer versus uThermal. Elazer coming back swinging. But before we do that, we will pop off to a small 2-minute commercial break. So stick around, folks. We'll see you soon. All right, we're back. Everything is tied up now 2-2. And, I mean, so uThermal... You mentioned an offhand comment. Let's explain this actually before we do the intros. uThermal's saying straight up, I don't even know why I'm trying so hard when I could just leave when Katniss Plating completes. And what really frustrates me about watching StarCraft 2 right now is on both sides of the spectrum, whether it's Zerg, whether it's Terran, whether it's Protoss, I think every race right now does have that one really tilt-inducing aspect of it where you're like, fuck it, like I can play my best and I just can't beat it. You know, Protoss obviously wants to get to Tempests. We saw the game with Snoot the other day, for example, how ridiculous that got. Right now here, Zerg versus Terran, you got the Katniss Plating. I will say that the game is definitely, I will say generally balanced, in my opinion. But it does suck that there are these aspects of it that do make it seem super extra terrible.
I agree.
But in the bottom left, hoping to go through to the winner's match, it's going to be the blue Terran player, uThermal.
In the bottom right, as the green Zerg, he is Elazer.
Now, of course, if you guys are tuning in from the United States, I would greatly appreciate it if you do us a favor and make sure to check out bttv.ting.com. Without Ting, this tournament wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't have any of these games, and $5,000 in prizing wouldn't be made available to entice all of these players in the first place. Of course, they're a U.S. mobile phone service, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a Season 3 out of them as well. But that all depends on you guys and whether you're willing to use their services, try them out, or buy stuff from their store.
Mm-hmm. Good people. Good company. Speaking of, I guess, our casting anniversary or whatever you want to call it. I remember back in the day we didn't have a break screen at all. I thought that was so weird, because up until then, everyone that I cast with actually had very long breaks. And if it wasn't a game, we weren't on the camera.
Well, you also, if I recall, cast a lot of times you didn't have your camera on at all, right? Because remember that was a topic we had discussed early on.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I also forgot that originally I didn't tell anyone my real name. So Fear Dragon like kept on like trying to find it out in the secret ways.
Actually,
eventually he did.
I was looking, so I did Google for the old Zotac. I didn't find the date, but I did find pictures of us when we were first casting together. I was way rounder, I guess we'll say. But you have come a long way too, madam. You've grown into quite the... I know I can't compliment you without people misinterpreting it, so I'm going to try and anti-compliment you here with the same result, okay? You've become the quite not ugly, very grown-up woman since then, I suppose we'll say.
You're saying I was ugly and immature? So fucking rude. No, I do look a lot different than
And I don't even mean the blonde too. Like, we can even take this back to like
yeah,
videos from like BlizzCon or Fen or anything like that. But
yeah,
it's interesting to consider that coming up. I know definitely 3 years ago I didn't think we'd be as far into this as we are. So
I thought I'd be casting on the main stage. No, I didn't. I would have like really long talks with this guy I used to co-cast with. About like how it would be so awesome if we ever got to cast, like if like Apollo would ever like ask us to come on, or like Red Eye would ever talk to us, and all of those things have actually happened. So, yoo-hoo!
Okay, Luigi, calm down.
Luigi, that gonna be the worst brother. Jesus.
Well, that was like the Luigi woohoo. That wasn't like a Wario woohoo.
Wario woohoo.
No, Mario. Wario woohoo would be like.
I was gonna say like, Wario doesn't.
All right, we get picked up. We got a tank job heading up to the north. We're going to be trying to use these rocks, but I think Elazer had some semblance of an idea. This may be coming his way, so he's trying to tear down these rocks to make sure this doesn't get too bad for him.
Yeah. We didn't see this on King Sejong, and it was so odd to see it from uThermal. He ended up winning that game anyway, but still, like, tank abuse is something that certainly uThermal is not afraid to do. And while he's not bringing over... Oh, I spoke too soon. doing a lot of that. Well, he's not bringing over like an SCV for a bunker. He's just bringing over the Marines. A second tank is being picked up and might just travel along as well. I guess he's anticipating just losing everything potentially here. So he's going to break down his rocks and hope that a counterattack won't kill him.
Yeah. Real quick, by the way, someone brings this up in chat. The Twitch clips submission phase is over, so any clips submitted today won't count, no matter how cool or sick the engagement is. But we'd love for if you guys could do us a favor and help us out by voting on some of the clips that are currently available. We do have one prize to award, and that is for the top most voted clip. So, exclamation mark clips in chat to go to that Reddit thread. The Reddit thread itself is old, so it doesn't matter if you upvote it, but the comments inside of it where the clips have been posted, if you guys could upvote or downvote those depending on whether you like them or not, that would actually help us out a ton, because we still have to pick winners.
Yeah. Well, this was not the push I was anticipating. I thought it was going to be the clever, annoying little, you know, up north. This is actually a push, and it is doing quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's found a nice little...
combat shields.
Yeah, the tank being shuffled around the backside. I can't believe these Marines live, but I'm more impressed that the tanks survived behind this. So 4 kills on one, 7 on the other. Marines kind of with free reign, and uThermal getting quite a bit of damage done here in the early game. Now that medevac's so close to dying, and that's exactly what Elazer wanted to pick off for it, but at the cost of one of his queens might be a little bit too costly. Several Overlords also going down while this happens, and this attack is... I don't know, it doesn't feel like it should end the game, but it's getting a lot more done than it should have. That's without doubt.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. Medevac is allowed to pick it up because the tank went down, and that definitely did more damage than it was supposed to. Tank finally goes down. Marines could be saved once again, or just try and continue to take on Lings. This
trade ends up going so much better for uThermal too, and a big part of this is not just, okay, you trade it out evenly, but he forced out so many Lings, so Lazer's not doing great with the drone count in the first place. He didn't lose, like 10 is not crazy, but he didn't get to make the 68 that he wanted to.
69?
No.
Oh, okay. Well.
Just go down on me and I owe you one, or whatever.
Oh, God, that's right. You got some good jokes, man. You should use them more on people we don't know. Can we do that? Can we just record you using all your pickup lines to women and like clubs or guys?
Oh,
both.
just
why not?
The failure that follows. Yo, I will say,
or success. I think like 1 or 2 girls would actually laugh at that.
I was gonna say I actually have some decent success rates. When I was at my high school reunion, every single girl I used the counting shoulders thing with, like, loved it. Nobody cringed. Nobody was like, ugh. I've got so many pictures of like their reaction as they like it hits them, like what, like, oh.
Whoa. Yeah, I've been thinking about smiles and read that too.
Alright, double drops coming towards the main. Lings do get cleaned up pretty quickly, but the Marine count's still pretty large. Even though 1-1's the advantage for his opponent, these are Roaches that don't have the weapon upgrades. It's the Lings that have the weapon upgrades.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but again, combat shield's not done, and just enough reinforcements coming in from Elazer to push that back. But uThermal, it's looking a lot more like that first game where he got some serious damage done early on, and then is just kind of backing that up with a little bit more here and there, so his main push might be able to do a lot more damage. And with Ruins of Endion being how it is, there are a couple of more, rock ledges in general to abuse with those tanks up against. And he's getting tanks and marauders. You know, that last game was a little odd. He stuck on Mass Marine for a very long time, and really just never added on anything else until the very last minute. He started getting that marauder count up.
So, what do you make of the tunneling claws?
Well, we saw Sulky do this with a Roach Ravager all in. I thought it was very effective.
I would like Tunneling Claws a hell of a lot more if this was more tank focused. But uThermal, who has granted been using tanks, isn't going super tank focused this game. Now, Tunneling Claws, for those who don't know, also has the added benefit where it gives them a little bit of extra regen, so that might just be like, hey, I want to heal my Roaches over and over and over again. But Roaches already get really nice regen just from burrowing in the first place.
Yeah. I like Burrow in general. I can get those infestors away too. But the Tunneling Claws, it seems like it would do better with like a main attack against tanks.
This is like, what, 5 years later of StarCraft 2 and Roaches existing, right? It's just occurring to me how stupid it is that Roaches come with like this passive that gives them benefits for something they have to research. Like, hey, you guys regenerate way faster while burrowed, but also, you don't know how to burrow.
Huh. I'm trying to think of other things. Because that never seemed very odd to me, but other things that are...
Just logically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think it would like be paired up with the research, it wouldn't be something they... Oh well. Anyway. I guess they're setting up for shark attacks.
Zork just
backstabs.
always having unfair advantages ever since day one, clearly.
Yeah.
No, I love that the roaches are actually broad right now because it's going to be hard to see. For those who don't know, like you can't actually see the roaches move and they create this little sort of black blur on the ground. But when they're just stationary like this, it's not like a window mine. You don't actually have any indication that they're there. So maybe he moves out, maybe he waits for them to move all the way out, comes in with roaches afterwards, and it looks to be the case. Elazer should be able to sneak in and get some pretty nice worker kills off this.
Yeah.
There's no turrets down, there's no
is-
detection.
But uThermal's not had a very tough time cleaning up all those Ling counterattacks he tried to use, but let's see if this will be better. They will be popping up in basically every single base, and uThermal's
God, you know
really
what, though?
bringing everything.
But here's the downside, right? That's a lot of supply segmented to this side of the map, trading out workers for what is an overall push to win the game, perhaps.
Yeah. Are there infestors? Yeah, there's infestors.
Yeah,
okay, so he
fungals
still has
and
to be very
burst spells.
careful and cautious. He's not going to be able to blitz on top of this army. His SCV count is going down. It looks like the natural was cleaned up. Main was pulled, I think. The
It's like
third is
slowly,
really
though.
gutted the best.
Yo, let's real talk about this +2 armor doing such work with no Ravager Roach upgrades, but takes on the fight
Oh,
to the south,
wow.
no problem. Pushes back the north side too. Two fronts, Elazer in a lot of troubles. uThermal's pushing to look like he really wants to win this game. He does clean up his bases, but even with 23 SCVs dying, he still sits on 47. Not too shabby. Third base for Elazer about to go down. That fourth isn't even up yet. This is not looking good. GG gets called, and most importantly, Domish lives to see another day.
Oh,
But
he
so
doesn't get
does
sent to mod
uThermal.
jail.
Yeah, mod jail. Like, I just thought, like, it's really sad, and I'm not making fun of him because we love him, but, like, Partoof's like that old guy who's been in jail for, like, a million years, right? So he finally has someone come in, and he's, like, the decrepit old man, like, who goes there? Hello? Like,
Let me tell you my story.
yeah. All right, well, congratulations to uThermal. He'll move on to the winner's bracket, where he waits to fight what is possibly Nurchio or Bunny. Now, again, I'm kind of, my fingers are crossed that we get TvZ all the way today, guys, but I wouldn't mind mirror matchups either. We're going to go to a sponsored break, though. This comes from TING. And let me just load that up, actually. So, TING, well, Zombie Up starts the vetoes. Again, we'll keep this as short as we can so that we can get you guys in the next series ASAP. TING, as we said many times throughout the cast so far, is a U.S. mobile phone service. Many of you are tuning in from Europe or Canada or elsewhere in the world, and shout-outs to you guys for watching, and hopefully you're enjoying the content. But as good as your phone services may be, I can speak on behalf of Canada and how bad phone service is over here, and it's just as bad in the States. TING is looking to save some money. I can't say too much, but there's going to be some really cool information coming out in the near future that might entice you even further to try TING. But for now, even with what we have available to us, TING is still pretty cheap. They've got, as well, honesty on their side, which I'm really a big fan of. If they can't save you money, they'll tell you to stay with your current provider, and they won't try and like bait you in with false pretenses. It's pretty simple. They do rates, not plans, all of this good stuff. So here's the coverage commercial. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.